Hello, I'm Kent Raible, and I want to talk today about my class, Going Tubular. This is a class where we learn how to make tubing in all different shapes and sizes and wall thicknesses for specific needs. I use tubing all the time for so many different things I can barely count them all. I'll just run off a few here. First and foremost, I use the tubing to make bezels, especially multiple bezels in calibrated sizes, like say for a 4x6 oval. If I have a series of those I want to use in a single piece, I can make one tube and just cut slices off, and I have multiple bezels made in a fairly efficient way, much faster than making them one at a time. So it's great for making small bezels for calibrated stones. I use them I even thread them for making screws. So this is like a threaded piece of red gold tubing that I make a screw. You can use it for making hinges. So we also cover, in Going Tubular, we cover how to use the tubes for setting stones. We even go into the stone setting process I use for making bezel set calibrated stones. We go into how to make a hinge, an opening bale. We go into swivels. We go into other uses of tubings for decorative elements and for functional movement of pieces like articulated pieces. So there's so many things you can use tubing for. It just kind of ups your game and gives you a lot more creative possibilities to incorporate into your designs. So I'd like to take you on a little journey here. What we do on occasion is a challenge within the Going Tubular class group. We have a Facebook group where we interact and share problems and successes and ask questions, which I can answer. We also do live Zoom calls to do the same thing. So once in a while, I offer a challenge, and this year it was a pendant challenge, and the challenge was to use at least 2 different shapes of tubing for setting a number of calibrated stones and to have an opening bale. So that's a bale with a hinge that opens so you can fit a chain or pearls or beads in and then close it up, and with a safety catch. So there's multiple uses of tubing there, and I'm going to show you my design right now. Okay, here we are with my sketchbook and my pendant challenge design. What I had here was a fire agate with a spiral carved into it. It's a very cool stone. And the idea was to, again, have multiple bezels, 2 different shapes. So I have squares, and I have rounds, and I have more rounds here, and I also have an opening bale in the back. So you'll see I've done a pretty detailed sketch of how it would look from the top. Then I'd flip it around and do the backside drawing so I can see where my hinge is going to be, right here. Where my safety catch wire is going to be. There's another little piece of tubing right here. I even put where I'm putting my stamp and my signature. How it will basically look from the back, and then a quick side view so I can see how the shape of the sheet that this is all laid out on has to be formed to get the bale to lay properly when the chain is running through it so that the pendant doesn't pop out at a funny angle. So these were my 3 drawings, and then I executed the piece during Going Tubular. This is the piece here, 18 karat gold. You can see my fire agate here has the spiral carved into it. And these are mandarin garnet princess cuts. Making a square tube is covered in module 1, as is making round tubing. I make my tubes a little extra thick, and then I burr out the seat and set the stones. All this is covered in the class. And then I laid my wire work here. That was probably the hardest part of doing this, was laying that wire because of the complex curves, especially when you consider this area here where you have it flaring up so that the pendant itself lays nice and flat when it's being worn. So I also have incorporated my stamp, my signature. There's a little piece of tubing here that doubles both as the hinge for the safety 8 wire, which just pops out here, but it also acts as a catch for the pendant for the opening bale itself. So that just snaps in right against that little piece of tubing. And then there's also my tube within a tube construction method for a very small tight hinge for the opening bale. So this project is an advanced project. We have several students that have completed beautiful pendants, mostly in silver, with multiple calibrated stones and opening bales, and have done beautiful jobs. So this gives you an idea of what my challenges are like and the levels of design possibility that you can get from taking Going Tubular. So that's the gist of the Going Tubular program. We are in the process of doing the Pendant Challenge right now, and we have a lot of new students who are just coming up and doing their first tubes right now. So this is an ongoing class, but we are going to be closing our doors on November 14th, and we will be closing doors for Architecture of a Ring as well, but we will still be working on the class through the winter months. And if you decide you want to do a pendant challenge, that was up to you once you've gone through the course materials. Also want to emphasize that I am a goldsmith, so all the pieces I work on are in gold, but the class itself is taught in sterling silver, although you can work in whatever material you're used to working with. But I recommend for most people to start in silver. All these fabrication techniques are applicable in all the precious metals. So this is something you can really use to increase your arsenal of useful skills and design possibilities. So I hope to see you in Going Tubular. Thanks.